Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be a reading wrap up because I'm trying to get you up to date so I can move on with my life, because April was absolutely crazy. This is basically my April wrap up because I lost electricity for 2 days. I ended up having surgery. So pure chaos. I had pre-filmed some videos. I had technical issues. Honestly, I just want to move on. That's why we're just going to talk about these books quickly, talk about what I'm reading. And I'm currently actually filming a reading vlog, trying to finish the books I started. We'll talk about that. And I'm dealing with a million kittens. You might see them because I opened the door, okay? They're going to be doing their own thing. We'll address that again in the vlog. They're chaotic. I have so many scars, all because of the little girl, by the way. She's vicious. I have one on my chest. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I can't see anything without my glasses. So yeah, it's been fun. Actually, it has, but you know, life. So, we're going to go quickly in order. No, you know what? Just grab and go. I vlogged my experience. I read Happy Place by Emily Henry in about 24 hours. And I love her because she made me change my mind a little bit with romance, because I feel like a lot of the time I would read romance books and just have issues with them. And like my favorite are definitely Book Lovers and Beach Read. I had read People We Meet on Vacation by her, and I felt like the two main characters had zero chemistry. And by remembering, now it's been a few days since I finished it, so I feel like with comparing the ones I like to this one, I finally figured out why this isn't a 5 stars. And it's because compared to the other books, here the two main characters are not as emotionally mature. And I feel like that was making all the difference for me between her books and other romance books I had read. So this is my issue. In this one, you're following this couple. They've been together for years, and they don't tell their friends that they stop being together, and they are forced to go on a vacation, as they usually did with them, and pretend. I just feel like I wasn't buying why they had to pretend. Didn't really care that much about their story. I really like his family, and I understand that they had a lot of trauma. You eventually understand a bit more throughout the book. But overall, no. It wasn't an awful book. I did laugh a couple times. In the vlog, you can see me laughing at the scene with the coyote eyes. So like, I had fun, but in my opinion, this is not going to be anyone's favorite Emily Henry's book. So let me just stop the kitten eating the cords for the microphone. This is Chunky. He's my favorite. He's a little Velcro baby. The other ones did not come out. They're baking in the sun right now. So yeah, I didn't even wear lipstick or something. Let me just put some. Ah, yes, it looks so much more put together. I haven't worn makeup once since having surgery until today, so I'm rusty. Okay, when I lost electricity, I ended up reading, or rereading, I should say, Moi qui n'ai pas connu les hommes, which is I Who Have Never Known Men, which made it last year in my most surprising books of 2022, because I picked it up randomly, title, cover. It caught my eye. I had no idea what it was about though, and I loved it so much that I wanted to reread it in its original language, French, and I liked it even more the second time. The first time was a 4.5 stars. This is easy 5 stars. I feel like reading it the second time, which it's not big by the way, it's like not even 200 pages, you appreciate it so much more. And it's kind of a dystopian book. You have these 40 women who have been imprisoned. They're in a cell underground. They have no idea how and why. The youngest one doesn't even remember what happened to, like, what was her life prior to it. And you're following the story through her eyes. And then one day something happens and they escape. And this is where the story really starts. It's about like, I don't know, 50 pages into the book. And I was trying to figure things out a lot more in this one. You don't get all the answers. I'm keeping this vague, but like, I'm someone that I've mentioned so many times how much I hate books that leave you with unanswered questions, that I feel the need to mention it. Because if you're like me, you're going to be like, dude, I know. But I feel like this one, it's so well executed that I cannot be mad about it. And I feel like when you reread it, the author, the narrator, is very clear about it. So like, it's on you. But I really liked seeing the relationship between the women, trying to figure out, you know, what's the meaning for their life at this point, and like trying to figure out what happened, their own theories. And I just could not put it down. Again, I read it. I had no electricity, so I reread it in a day, but still. And I'm actually trying to make anyone and everyone read this book. You, all of you, and people in real life too. It's a little bit of a tough sell because it's very, very bleak. But for some reason, I didn't mind, especially the second time. I didn't find it as bleak the second time. I found myself finding beauty in the whole tragic situation. And I guess it's, all of us trying to find meaning for our lives. So yeah, this was 5 stars. Would it be cheating if I were to include this in my best of 2023? Because I reread it in French. So it's like, it's the same thing, but like it's different. I probably will, honestly, just because I really want everyone to read this. If you're prepared for bleakness, I feel like it's an easy way to get into like dystopian sci-fi. Like it's not sci-fi crazy, like in space kind of thing. So yeah, makes it very accessible. I loved it. I loved it. Super bleak though. Be warned. But yeah, loved it. I'm going to keep raving about this constantly. Let's talk about, actually, there's one book that I don't have. I tried to film this the other day and I realized I forgot a book. So let's talk about it. City of Stairs, which I got back into fantasy this month or last month. And I'm so happy about it because I neglected fantasy for like over a year now. And I don't know why. I just have not been in the mood for it. And I am back. This is an adult fantasy. I had been recommended this book for years. I have the whole trilogy on my shelves. I'm actually supposed to finish series this year, so maybe I should actually continue. And this ended up being really good. I think I give it like 4 point something. I really love the world building and the magic, like old gods. But it's definitely like a murder mystery in a fantasy setting. It's very heavy on the political intrigue. My only issue is that I wasn't super emotionally invested in the characters as much as I would have liked. Otherwise, it would have been a 5 stars. But I'm still very much intrigued, at least enough to continue. Like I said, I have book 2 on my shelf and 3, so I really should. But you have this woman. She is sent to, figure out what happened with the person that was murdered. She knows him. He was studying the old gods. Nobody really knew exactly what happened. Big battle between two, continent. You will figure that out once you read it, but I ended up really, really intrigued. Like I said, magic system world building, definitely intrigued to continue. Towards the end, I was like, how is it going to even continue? But you get something at the end, so I'm very much curious. So yeah, it's on my list. Maybe this summer. I don't read a ton of fantasy during the summer, but let's make it an exception for this one. Speaking of fantasy, I also finished The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, which I ended up also really enjoying. It's another adult fantasy, and this one you're following an older female character, which in there you get some too. I've been like on the lookout for books like that. I feel like for some reason a lot of the books that I kept reading were like really young women, or if they were older it was all about them being mothers, and I've been trying to find older complex female characters. And a few of you mentioned when I got this that this was going to be exactly that, and it is. You have an older woman. She was a pirate and she retired. And she had a kid, and she is sucked back into an adventure trying to save the kidnapped kid of someone she used to be a pirate with. And this was great. I really enjoyed the world building and enjoyed the characters, especially Delilah. Like, there's a couple times I did laugh. My only issue with it, which will not be everyone's issue, I feel like it got almost too fantasy, too weird towards the end. And like it opens the door to a rest of a series. I'm assuming this is the first book in a series, and I have no interest in continuing. I don't know why, but I did really enjoy myself. Like I said, the world building, the adventure, the characters being older and having like some kind of backstory. So yeah, for me it was fun. A 4 stars. I'm glad I read it. I do recommend it, especially if you like I said, pirates, adventure, older female characters. And yeah, it was good. Took me by surprise. Enjoyed it more than I expected. And yeah. Hi, buddy. Are you still eating the cords? Yum, 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 yum. Oh, before I forget, I did DNF, so did not finish Lessons in Chemistry, which is a historical fiction. I read like about 1 or 2 a year, and this was the winner, I believe, last year for the Goodreads Choice Awards. So I like to try them just to see if they're my cup of tea or not. I feel like historical fiction for me, they're either like a 3 maybe star or like a 5. There's rarely anything that is in between, and this one was I could feel myself giving it maybe 3 stars at the end. So I ended up putting it down because I wasn't feeling it, which is weird because it sounded interesting. You have this woman back in the day being a chemist and trying to make it in life, but also balancing, dreams of also having a family and having to deal with sexism and everything. And I just quickly lost interest. I decided to move on. I was about a third into it. So I'm learning to not question myself when I'm not feeling it, to just put it down and move on. So that's what I did. Proud of myself, even though this is going to be kind of controversial because a lot of people liked it. I mean, it did win. So I also finally finished Women, Race and Class by Angela Davis. Highly recommend. This is a nonfiction about, women, race and class. But I really learned a few things that I didn't know. This is a really heavy book. I did not binge read this. I think I've been reading this since January. It's definitely on me though, because I was pretty overwhelmed. But I really enjoyed learning more about, yes, the slavery movement, but more about, I don't know if I can put a quote or something, but you know how nowadays you will hear people being like racist and sexist toward Black women and tell them that, they're being masculine or whatever. And it's all rooted in slavery movement. And like, really interesting how that was the best way for them to make it profitable, to like have this myth of them being masculine when convenient, but also still being women when convenient. I also really like learning about the suffragette movement, which I didn't know really started when white women realized that Black men were going to have the right to vote before them, and that was what was upsetting the most to them, which was not thought that in school. So yes, this was great. Highly recommend it. 5 stars. You won't binge read this, but it's mind-blowing. Loved it. It's obviously a gross summary, but just to give you an idea of the topic. So that's kind of what I've been reading. Not a ton because like I said, I was super overwhelmed. Frankly, I'm just happy I've read anything. Actually, another one I DNF'd before I forget. I think it's called The Living and the Dead. All the Living and the Dead. I thought I was going to love this. I'm trying to read nonfiction. I did that last year, trying to find different topics. And the topic of this one sounds super interesting. It's about everything that has to do with death, basically everyone that works around that or has, back in the day. And I was enjoying it at first and then kind of lost interest. I was listening to it as an audiobook. I don't know if that's the issue. Or maybe it's just the narration of the author. I can't pinpoint my issue. Actually, that reminds me. I will have to go and look at the reviews online to see. Sometimes someone will put into words something you can't, but something about the narration was bugging me. And I felt like it was more about, not necessarily the author, but just not enough about the story. I feel like it could have went further. So topic super interesting, but I wasn't connecting with it. I was a little bit over 50%. It got returned to library and I'm kind of hesitating to grab it again. So we'll see. Maybe mentioning it right now, someone will convince me in the comments. Maybe it was just, the stress of the surgery. Who knows? And yeah, those are the ones that I've finished. I am currently reading this one, Her Majesty Royal Coven, which was a recommendation by quite a few of you because I've mentioned how much I like the idea of modern witches, but I never liked the books, which is so annoying. Like, I want practical magic vibes, the movie, not the book. So I was hoping that this was going to be it. I am not feeling it 100% so far. I'm hoping I will change my mind. So far the story is, yes, witches, modern day. And there is this young boy that seems to be the sign of like the apocalypse is going to happen kind of thing. And you know what made me laugh is that I got annoyed at the fact that in this world, witches, the women, are stronger than the men. But then comes up this much, much stronger little boy. And I'm like, oh no, we're getting Dune again. And they mentioned Dune. So I was like, oh, I guess it's on purpose. So we'll see if the second half, changes things. For me, I'm currently reading this for the reading vlog. So fingers crossed, because a lot of you loved it. So I'm hopeful that it's just, again, I've been reading slumpy-ish. Anyway, it's been a thing. And I'm also listening to Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I was meant to finish this again last month, but life was crazy. And so far I'm really enjoying it even more as an audiobook. So I'm continuing that way. I'm hoping to finish it this week again during the reading vlog. So I can also watch, I think it's a movie adaptation. So I will be able to watch it, compare it, and I will be able to talk about it on Patreon. I'm really sorry I'm late, but again, surgery, I'm sure you'll forgive me. And yeah, I'm also reading Beware of Chicken, which is a low stake, farmer. I will never not laugh at the fact that I'm actually really enjoying this. I haven't been reading a ton because I've been falling asleep so quick at night because the surgery. I feel totally fine, but at 8 o'clock, I'm out. So I haven't been reading it. It's an ebook. It's on my Kindle next to my bed, so I pass out too fast. But I'm enjoying it. Have the stories through the eyes of is Rooster, and there's magic. It's good so far. I'll keep you updated once I'm done, probably at the end of May, hopefully. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Haven't been reading a ton because I've been recovering and then dealing with the cats because they're absolutely insane. They're now running full speed everywhere. Udini, Harry, we'll talk about it once again in the next vlog. But of course he has figured out again how to escape. I had to put boxes in front of the door at first because I wanted Mama Cat to be able to go in and out. And then I had to put a big dresser there to block them, but she could still jump. It doesn't work anymore because that figured out how to climb it. So now I have to close the door at night, but during the day, I'll open the door once in a while and they go cuckoo everywhere. And it's been fun, but very hectic. Again, you'll see that in my next vlog. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. A good time. I've been having, actually, you know what? Actually a good time because I haven't been giving, you know, anything under like, what, 3 stars? Happy Place was my lowest rated one. But it's probably because, once again, I'm learning to put down books when I'm not enjoying them, which is hard to learn, but once you do, it's life-changing. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what you've been reading. What's the best book you've read? I mean, April is starting to be long ago. It feels long ago. Honestly, after surgery, it feels like a year ago. And I will be seeing you very soon, upcoming video. See you then. Bye.